Hi guys! Today I want to talk about how I ended up being a software engineering intern and how to get a software engineering internship without a CS related major. I majored in public health in my undergrad at UC Berkeley, and it all started with me taking a intro to CS class in my second semester of third year. My friend recommended me to take this class, and CS classes were super popular and everyone was taking it. So I was like, why not? Why don't I take it?
Why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league?
I kind of had a peer pressure to take that class, and I was curious about this hype. So I decided to take it. I remember that I had no idea, like zero idea on what they were talking about in my first CS lecture. Everything sounded like a foreign language to me. Trust me, it's usual, but once I got used to the language and got comfortable with coding, I started liking CS more. So I started taking more CS classes, went to a front-end web development bootcamp, and worked on some personal projects. I ended up doing 4 software engineering internships and wanted to give you guys like little tips on how to get a software engineering internship even without a CS major, as a person who went through a similar experience. Let's get started. First, study CS fundamentals. If you're in school, I highly recommend you taking CS classes. It's always important to have fundamentals and basics down in every field. You already paid your tuition and your school offers CS classes, so why not take it? It's like a free CS bootcamp where you get to learn fundamentals and work on cool CS projects with people who are also interested in the CS field. If you're not in school, don't worry. There are tons of resources out there online like Udemy, Coursera, YouTube videos. If you just type in CS fundamentals on Google or YouTube, you will get thousands of resources. Second, work on personal projects. Especially if you are not a CS related major, building a project will show the recruiters and interviewers that you are really interested and passionate about CS and coding. I personally built several web apps. You get to wear different hats throughout the process. One time you become a designer, front-end engineer, back-end engineer, product manager. I feel like it's the way where you can get your feet wet and experience like a little bit of the real software engineering field. Third, study algorithms. Software engineering interviews often ask whiteboard algorithm questions. There are a lot of programming learning platforms, but I personally studied with LeetCode, which has really variety of algorithm questions. So you can filter questions by difficulty levels and data structures. And honestly, I studied with a lot of online learning platforms and also very well-known Cracking the Code interview book. But I found LeetCode really the best tool for me to study for algorithm. And as I solve questions on LeetCode, if I encounter some questions or topics that I'm not really familiar or comfortable with, I always go back and study the topic in detail, which is why studying the fundamentals is really important. If you want some good tips on how to study with LeetCode, comment below. I'll do my best to answer. Fourth, do mock interviews. Even if you think you're good at coding, if you get nervous, which is highly likely when you're in an interview, it's easy to make mistakes and not show your ability 100%. Only practice makes you perfect. Mock interview is a simulation of an actual interview, and with the feedback from the interviewers, you get to know the specific area you are good and weak at. So it's a really great way to practice and improve your interviewing skills. You can do mock interviews with your friends who are searching for a software engineering internship like you, or an actual software engineer, which is really great because they've been through it. They can give really useful tips as they are the interviewers themselves usually. Or there is a free online mock interview website called Premp. They do peer-to-peer mock interviews among engineers. Next, start job searching early. Don't wait till last minute. You get more opportunities and interviews if you start early. And if you start early and have more interview experiences, by the time you get interview from the company you really want, you are now a experienced interviewee. So you will be ready by the time. Or if you end up going to a last minute career fair, you will be ready by then. And bam, there you have your internship. Speaking of which, last but not least, go to career fairs. Your school offers career fairs for free. Utilize them. It's all included in your tuition. The great thing about a career fair is that the recruiters or the interviewers at the booth, they look at your resumes for sure. What happens if you apply online and even through school's recruiting platform? A lot of schools, or at least my school, used a website called Handshake. But as companies get tons and tons of applications online and even through referrals, there is a high probability that the companies will not even look at your resumes if you apply online. But if you go to a career fair, you get to actually meet and speak with the recruiters and interviewers at the booth and even talk about your resume on the spot. And of course, the best way to get interviews is through referrals. So don't be afraid to ask your friends or classmates for referrals. So those were some of my tips on how to get a software engineering internship even without a CS related major. I hope these were helpful. And if you have any questions, please comment below and I will do my best to answer or make videos on them. I will see you guys in my next video.